What is the most inoffensive thing you've seen someone get offended by? 1. Maybe 22 years ago, I had a phone interview with a baking company. I didn't care to have my peers know what I was up to, so I took the call on my cell phone in my car. The call was crystal clear and no technical issues. At one point, they had mentioned the weather and asked how it was where I was. I told him that I was sitting in my car and I could see that it was actively snowing and whatnot. The interviewer asked me, "Are you taking this call on a cell phone?" I told him I was. Then he asked me if I thought that was appropriate. I asked him what he meant by that. He said he thought it was kind of rude to take a formal call on a cell phone. I told him I would be more than happy to conclude the interview if talking on a cell phone was an issue. If he was interested, I'd be happy to continue it the next day when I'd be at a desk. He again repeated how rude he thought it was that I had called from a cell phone and that there was no need to continue the interview process. I disagreed with the first point but did agree with the second. To this day, I wonder what the hell he was talking about and where he was coming from. 2. When I was a child, my mum paid for something with a check. The cashier remarked that my mum had nice handwriting. My mum flew off the handle and we had to storm out of the shop in outrage. To this day, I have no idea what happened. Maybe it brought up sore feelings from when she failed the doctor entrance exams. 3. At my wedding we marked the vegetarian items as vegetarian. This made the one vegetarian at my wedding, sister-in-law who hates me, fly into a catatonic rage because we are singling out the vegetarian food as vegetarian and not treating it as normal food. Then how the fuck are they supposed to know it's vegetarian? 4. My 7-month-old was wearing a shirt that had a rocket ship and the NASA logo and some middle-aged woman in the shop said, "He shouldn't be wearing that because he's clearly not an astronaut." I was dumbfounded. 5. Someone posted a video about 9/11 and someone commented, "Please take this down, you're not from New York. You will never understand this pain." She said this as if only people from New York were in the World Trade Center. My grandfather. He used to never wear his seatbelt. One day he's driving around with my mom and suddenly remarks, "I feel like I'm about to go through the windshield," and buckles in. Less than 30 seconds later, as they're going through an intersection, a car blows the red light going like 40 miles per hour and slams into my grandpa's side of the car. He walked away with nothing worse than some fractured ribs and now he always wears his seatbelt. 2. When I was a teen I'd make a few bucks helping a local farmer bale hay. The hay would be stacked on a trailer and towed by tractor to the barn. I usually sat on the front of the trailer on the way to the barn, but I suddenly felt like that wasn't a good place to be and I moved to the back. As soon as I did, I heard a clang. The hitch had come loose from the tractor, while heading down a steep hill. I climbed down the back and easily stepped off, moments before the trailer flipped over into a ravine. 3. I thought my son's breathing was weird. He was 4 days old. I couldn't even explain to his doctor what I thought was weird, I just knew it was weird. Took him into the pediatrician and she did a basic look at him, watched him breathe and said he was fine. "I'm just in anxious mommy mode." The following day I take him into the ER telling them the same thing. I don't know what it is but his breathing is just weird, and boom his oxygen was 72. He ended up staying on supplemental oxygen at home for 2 months. I was crying to one of the nurses and he told me, "Mom, instinct is real and I've seen it save a lot of kids' lives." 4. I was once walking down a street at night and randomly thought to myself, "Yikes, I'm going to get mugged." I ignored the feeling. Got mugged. 5. My best friend who passed away visited me in my dream, and ran into her in a grocery store. I remember I was ecstatic to see her and blabbed and she just simply responded, "You're sick," and I woke up. In a few days I found out I had high-risk cervical lesions and needed surgery. 6. Leaving my headphones out when the Bluetooth spontaneously disconnected. A weird guy was following me home. I watched from my patio as he went up and down the street looking for me. 7. Decided to take a day off work. I never miss time but that day there was an explosion in my work area, and if I had been there it would have definitely caused significant damage or worse. 8. I got an absolutely gut-twisting nauseating feeling and waited a few seconds before driving through the green light. 2 pickup trucks slammed into each other and would have crushed me on my motorcycle.